Hello my dear learners, welcome to the channel. My name is Namita and today is the third session of our storytelling series. If you are watching this channel or my face for the first time, let me tell you that there is this series running on this channel where we are trying to learn English through stories. It is significant to improve your pronunciation, build a strong vocabulary, work on your sentence formation or grammatical construction of your sentences, and also build listening skills. Along with that, we are going to learn a wonderful life lesson which will help us grow and become better as an individual. So if you are watching it right now, I'm going to link the playlist for the entire series in the description box. You can go watch the rest of the videos as well. And yes, I'm not uploading any PDF of the text that I'm reading because I read from books and that would take a lot of editing. I can only suggest you to switch on the subtitles if you really want to read along. Otherwise, consider it as a listening practice and then try to tell the same story in your own words. That would be the best thing. So you can switch on the subtitles from my end. All the subtitles are on. You just click on that CC and you'll be able to get the sentences correctly that I'm reading. Let's begin today's stories. As always, I will not tell you the name. You will be giving me a wonderful title for this story. Okay. Now, once upon a time, there were two frogs going down a country road. Now, a great storm came up and they became confused. I hope you know what a storm is. Storm is strong winds when the weather is bad, hailstorm, snowstorm, sandstorm, thunderstorm. So storm basically are strong winds. It's when the condition is bad, and storm is a noun. So a great storm came up and they became confused. The wind was blowing so hard that they got separated and lost. Now, why do we use blowing with wind? Blowing means verb. Blowing is a verb and it means moving. When something is moving, something is not still, like wind and air. For wind and air, we always use the word blow. So blowing is a verb, and if I have to give you an example, I would say a gentle breeze was blowing. So this is how we use blowing. I hope you already know these words, but I still feel that it's my responsibility to keep telling you difficult or different words. Would not say difficult. Okay. So the wind was blowing so hard that they got separated and lost. In the confusion, the first frog fell into a bottle of milk. He looked around, got angry, cursed life. Cursed is a verb too. It is the past tense of curse and it means to use rude language to express your anger. When people start saying bad things, cursing. So curse is a verb and it is the past form is cursed. So he cursed life and its bad breaks and started crying and complaining about the problem and how bad life was. He whined and complained. Whined. Now it is, I will write the spelling here. Whined is again the past form of wine. We pronounce both as the same. The wine that we drink, and this wine, which means to complain about something in a crying voice, in an annoying or crying voice. When you're crying and complaining and cribbing, we use the word whining. So like the child is whining to go out of the park. This is how we can use it. So whine means to cry or complain, a particular tone. So he whined and complained and focused his energies on the problem, and he soon gave up and died. The second frog also fell into a bottle of milk, but he had a different attitude, a different perspective. I use this word a lot of times. Perspective is a noun and it means our own opinion or attitude towards something. That's perspective. Our vision, how we look at different things, is what a perspective is. Like, if you try to look at this story from my perspective, you will understand that problems are the same for everyone. It's just how we react to it. So that's my perspective. So perspective is a beautiful word. So he had a different perspective, a positive perspective. He didn't like the fact that he fell into the milk. He didn't like the tough breaks that life had thrown him. But he directed his energies to the solution rather than just the problem. He kept on hopping. Now, hopping is a verb. It means to jump. We use it for bunnies, for rabbits, hopping for frogs, which means to move in a series of leaps. The frogs are hopping, the rabbits are hopping. So, hopping means jumping, leaping, bouncing, springing. These are different words which you can use in place of hopping. So, it's a verb too. So, he kept on hopping and kept on kicking. He didn't give up. As I told you last time also, with did and did not, we use the first form. So it will not be gave up. Like many of you say, I didn't said that. No, I didn't say that. He didn't give up. I did give up, not gave up. Okay. So he realized it is not so much what happens to you, but the key is what you do about it. So he started kicking and he kept kicking. He kicked and he kicked until he churned the milk into cream. Churned. It's the past tense of churn. Churn is a verb. I'm sure you've heard it. Like it means moving around violently. In the mixer, in the grinder, the blades churn. So we churn the milk, the curd, churning. So if in other sense we use it, we can say that you feel sick and nervous if something churns in your stomach. We have that feeling that something is churning inside. That movement, the circular movement, is called churning. So he kicked and kicked until he churned the milk into cream. He continued to kick. Now he kicked and kicked until he churned the cream into butter, and eventually he walked out. Now eventually is like something we use for in the end or finally, to say finally or in the end. Eventually is an adverb. So we can say that he eventually convinced his parents to get him married to the girl of his choice. This is how we use eventually. So in the end or later. For later, in the end, or finally, we use eventually. So eventually he walked out. Friends, life is not going to play fair. Now playing fair means having justice. Play fair, we use it like that. So it might not always be justified. It might not happen in a reasonable way. Basically life will not behave honestly all the time. And who said that it will happen like that? Life is tough. It's really hard. We just have to sail through it, keeping our sanity intact. And that's what I understand about life. I've never felt it plays fair. Sometimes there are so many questions. We don't know why things happen in a certain way. But yeah, that's the way it is. So the writer is saying, friends, life is not going to play fair. There will be times when life throws you some curveballs, and your ultimate success or failure will depend on whether you sit around angry at life. Now this whether, I'm going to write two whether here, whether and whether. You will tell me the difference between the two in the comment section. The spelling is different, but the pronunciation is exactly the same. So you will be telling me the difference between both the wethers, right? Okay. So there will be times when life throws you some curveballs, and your ultimate success or failure will depend on whether you sit around angry at life, concentrating on the problem and how unfair it is. Now unfair means the opposite of fair, which means partially injustice or something which is unequal in treatment, which is not truly equal. So we use unfair. So how unfair it is, or whether you concentrate on the solution to the problem. I have found without a doubt that the key to success is not what happens to you, but what you do about what happens to you. So, this is a beautiful story, and I think the lesson is clear that everybody receives their own side of torture, their own side of unfair treatment, their own side of problems, suffering. Everybody is going through something. But some of us are so focused only on problems that we forget that we have to think about problems, solutions as well. And that is the difference between people who maintain their sanity and those who just melt down and who just ruin their life because of problems. We all have our share of problems, pain, suffering, but it is not that we can just get lost into the problems. What about the solution? There is always supposed to be a solution. Are we looking at it? In one of my previous videos also, I was talking about having this approach of solution oriented approach rather than problem oriented approach. So with English also, you're way too much focused and concerned about your problems. You keep telling me in the comment section that I cannot speak in English. I can read it, I can write it, I have a good vocabulary, I have all the grammatical knowledge, I have everything, but I cannot speak. It is always a problem. What do? I don't know. I try to, when I give you homework, some of you say that I was able to write only 3-4 lines, I couldn't write a page. This is a problem oriented approach. I know. What about the solution? The solution is you have to do more research, spend more time. If you are being able to write 3-4 lines easily, research more about the topic, move at least ahead to 5 or 6 lines, and then you'll be able to write the whole page. Let's have a solution oriented approach rather than problem oriented approach. Let's not focus on problems. Let's start focusing on solutions, how we can solve them. So this is another solution. This series is a solution to your English problems. This will help you understand English better and learn vocabulary, and you'll be able to use it in a good way. Now the words that we have learned, you can do one thing, you can keep pausing the video in between and you can write down the words, the vocabulary that we are doing. I type them here every time. So you just write them down and make your own sentences. That's what you're supposed to do. Make your own sentences with each word. This will help you remember and recall these words. Otherwise, what's the point spending so much time? So try to make your own sentences, different sentences, not the similar ones that are there in the story. So make different sentences and you'll be able to remember these words and use them while you'll be talking to other people. So this was all about this video. I hope you're finding it helpful, and I will wait for the suitable title. And also tell me the difference between the two, whether I left that part on you. I'm not explaining it from my end. You tell me the difference between the two, whether the meaning of them. And I'll see you in my next video. Take care of yourself. Keep working on your English. I'm using different methods to just help you speak better English, become a better and a fluent English speaker. So keep practicing. Bye bye for now.